And this is what we have. We have these complicated situations that are being solidified by these major changes that history never reported. This ceasefire in Gaza is not really going on. And the rest of the world is in the same dilemma. For we all have these patterns that overlap each other. It's like dreams with friends and neighbors and family members and even people in the chat where you show up in my dream or I had your dream and you had your dream and this is what the outcome was. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for calling me in. I'd like to start with a little incantation for us. So if you will take 3 deep breaths and hold them at the top, exhale with your mouth open. Please place us in a steady stream of divine white light, the white light of divine guidance and divine grace. Michael, wrap your blue bubble of protection around us that shrinks to fit as we step into the healing teal green orb of Raphael that floats and shares and spreads and transfers. The divine white light, the white light of divine guidance and divine grace, so mote it be. There you go. That's better.
Yes,
Excited this morning.
so excited.
Well, first, it's just going to continue on the way it's going. This is why October and November are so important to unplug when you need to. Don't put it off. You deserve the same kind of healing and love that you send out towards everybody else. You need to do this for yourself as well in order to continue to have the strength. Even when we unplug, we can still be in spirits coming in. We can still be within that holding space for others. It is a skill that comes along with being in those higher plateaus. It is you write it down on a piece of paper and place it on an altar. That will hold space for you while your mind goes off and do something else. So we can do this while still paying attention to ourselves. I turn it over to Joan of Arc and I put people's names there. I put countries. Ukraine is still there, and Ukraine will be there until this is over for them. This ceasefire in Gaza is not really going on. It sounded good, but there's still there are still fighting. There are still people being killed, rights being taken away. I don't so much is unpredictable at this time because everybody has free will throughout many nations. It is like a footpath through the woods, but you have a map and you're trying to follow the map, but the map doesn't tell you, oh, there was a rock slide and now this part is blocked. Or the map didn't tell you that the stream moved and now you have to portage over here. And so we have to be aware. We have to be ready to sidestep at any given moment. It is getting in sync. It is the two birds with the barometer. It is the Metatron that is keeping time for the pianist who's trying to learn Chopin and or Amadeus. And this is what we have. We have these complicated situations that are being solidified by these major changes that history never reported because Uranus, Jupiter, Pluto, Neptune, Eris, Xena, and all the other asteroids, they had not been discovered. Remember, at what time the Earth stopped, the sky stopped at Saturn. That's the only planet that they could see. That was the farthest out you could be seen. But it was subsequent after that, when more planets came in, that it began to be understood. And then they tried to take the telescope away and put people in jail. And for seeing beyond the star Saturn, a planet just means moving object in the sky. So they're all stars to us from here. And they influence us. And now we are in an unprecedented time with Pluto in Uranus. Well, since Pluto's discovery, it hasn't been in Uranus. It's been in a bunch of other signs, but this is its first time that we know of. We can go back and look at it. Last year was all about the solar return on the country of America. This year is about the solar return on the Constitution. So there will be changes made, but it has to have an upgrade, but because times have changed, but I don't see this administration being the one to do it. And the rest of the world is in the same dilemma. For we all have these patterns that overlap each other. It's like dreams with friends and neighbors and family members and even people in the chat, where you show up in my dream, or I had your dream and you had your dream, and this is what the outcome was. So what we have to do is just be ready to adjust our footpath. Keep your ears open, keep your eyes alert and clean. Keep your mind in the angelic realm, because that's where you'll get the messages. Watch for the omens, the hawk, the owl, all the raptors, the moose, the deer, the gopher, the opossum. They'll tell you when to lay low. We just have to be prepared at this point to remember being in sync with ourselves, each other, and understanding the flow. Was it Buddha said, if you cling to the branch on the shore, you will die. If you let go and go with the flow of the water, you will make it to shore. I do see there will be dramatic changes, but they're going to be slow. And then all of a sudden, like baby growth spurts, you know, the baby, and boom, now the baby can't wear the baby clothes. The baby now has to wear two toddler, and he's still in diapers, and he still needs to be carried around because he's not walking yet, you know. So it's going to be like that. It's going to be like the big nothing, and then bam, a spurt. The big nothing. That's why we have to be prepared to sidestep. We can look at it as a punishment, maybe, if there is such a thing as a heaven and hell and purgatory, as the church proposes, as Christianity says, purgatory is right here on earth. But one way or the other, we made a soul contract, and we know what we're doing when we make that soul contract. And we came into this earth to hold light and to hold space for those who are in need, for those who are trapped, for those who need healing. And sometimes we all need it too. Even though we're the ones providing extra strength, we need that same healing. We have to rely on each other for that. You know, I am being shown, and I'm sure they're still out there. There were these birds. They were heavy bottomed. It was some sort of a barometer. And if you had a glass of water in front of them, the beak would go dip into the water. So the barometer would create this cradle, right? And it would swing back and forth like a Metatron. And sometimes my dad had two, one for me and one for my little brother at the time. So we were always playing with this thing. But if the water dried up, they didn't move. But if you had water in the glass, they would dip. Well, they would also get in sync with each other. And just like a Metatron, if you put it next to another one and they're not ticking together, they will find a way to tick together. The same thing with these birds. They found their own way to be in sync with each other. So they didn't bang beaks in the water, but just went down and went next to each other. Amazing, amazing. Okay, so another thing that has come to me through my dreams and channeling, because a lot of times a dream will prompt it, right? The channeling for me. So let's go there. The amazing three-eye atlas, as well as the Swan comet and the Lemon comet. Okay. So my hit on what I was showing is that three-eye atlas is alive. It has consciousness. It is a ship. And everything has a consciousness. A rock has a consciousness. But this ship has a consciousness on its outer shell as well as on the inside. I was told that this was a ship that was filled with people, Martians, the residents of Mars. As they were aware of the cataclysm coming, and some were able to get onto a ship that went way out into other galaxies, looking for a place to colonize, looking for a place to land and safely go forward. In that movement of planet to galaxy, they, of course, encountered other beings. And the other beings were sometimes friendly, sometimes not. There was interaction. There was falling in love. There was interbreeding. There was hybridization of so many different types of beings. It had gone so far out, it is now returned to see what home is like. And can they go back? Can they settle back in and recolonize? So that's my take on them. It is not a comet. A comet is like Swan, and Swan is here for healing. It's in Orpheus, the constellation Orpheus. And that is the double-headed snake. In fact, that is also the eye of Taurus the bull, and it is all about healing and reconnecting. And this brings me back to the DNA strands, because the double strand has a connection, and then there's a wrap around that. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's okay. And then the lemon is about that's in the Big Dipper. And the Big Dipper, it's near the North Star, the comet itself. And so what is that? That's about finding your own inner North Star. So here we are with this ship, for lack of a better term, this conscious ship that is able to house life. Maybe not as an earthling knows it, but life from other planets and other galaxies. No, we have many.
Many.
We are not locked into one spiritual guide. We have several stages of light associated with our chakras. The root is red, the core is orange, the solar plexus is yellow, The heart is green. The throat is blue. And then we get into the indigo and the lights above that. So we have 7 that we deal with on a regular basis, but we have all these other steps in between. If you consider what a rainbow looks like, the colors just aren't in a stripe. They merge and meld and go on. You know, one leads into the other. Red and yellow make the combination of orange, but it doesn't just become orange. Those factors of light have to merge to become the deeper meaning. And then they start to thin as we get to yellow. The red starts to disappear. Now you're into trusting your gut. As you go up higher, you include your heart. Well, the heart and the mind are so important. They are connected. The brain cannot live without the heart, and the heart cannot tick without the brain. And that takes us to astrology because Aries controls the brain, it is cerebral, and Leo controls the heart. 2 signs who always have to have a conjunction, a connection to something to delegate because they can't do it without another interaction. Like Aries can't get the sandwich to its mouth. It has to call on Gemini to move the hands and the arms and the shoulders to get it up there. And he's got to call on Gemini in order to expand the lungs to breathe, to keep the heart ticking. Then he has to call on Taurus in order to chew the sandwich because he needs the jaw, and Taurus is the bottom of the jaw and in through the throat. So now we got to swallow it. We got to get it down in there. And in order to get all that going, you got to have your heart ticking because you lose one, that mind or the heart, and we lose the functions of the body. Okay, let us close this show as we begin. We'll take 3 deep breaths. We call upon all of our guides, each of us as individuals, each of us as choirs of angels, each of us as ascended masters. We ask that you help us retain our ability to stay in the higher realms. We ask that you help us help those who cannot help themselves, the hungry, the infirmed, the troubled, the war, the loneliness, the humiliation, that everyone will feel the love of his brother and sister and the higher creator, the light frequency, the sound vibration that takes us up into the realms. So mote it be. Thank you.